Hello, I am Brian Morris, one of the solutions architects at Susa. The purpose of this video series is to give our managed services providers hosting Susa Linux enterprise images for their tenants and internal use a high-level overview of the SUSE Update Infrastructure and the best practices for deployment of Susa RMT in a manner consistent with managed service provider strategies. It has been broken up into 6 brief segments as outlined here, starting with a high-level overview and proceeding through the steps to the final cloud client registration. Please note that in the YouTube description for this video is a URL to the SUSE Update Infrastructure Setup Guide for cloud service providers and the URL to the General RMT Server Installation Guide located on the SUSE documentation website. SUSE Update Infrastructure Setup Guide for Cloud Service Providers is quite a mouthful, so we will simply refer to it as the Setup Guide for this video series. The Setup Guide has been updated for SUSE Enterprise Linux version 15 SP3 or higher. First, what is SUSE RMT Server? RMT stands for Repository Mirroring Tool. Its function is to mirror selected SUSE package repositories directly from the SUSE master repository and cache them locally for more efficient distribution. A second optional function of the RMT server is to be a registration proxy on behalf of the SUSE Customer Center or SCC. However, it is recommended that this function be disabled for MSP deployments. This allows clients to register SUSE products within their local area network or private cloud, instead of across the internet with the SCC directly. During the course of the subsequent videos, I'll provide a little more detail about these features. So where does the RMT server fit into the MSP network? To answer that question, we will be referencing this diagram for the remainder of this brief overview. The drawing you're seeing is a very simple architecture view of how an MSP with 2 regions would be deployed. The regions depicted, or most likely data centers, show a primary and a secondary, as an example. Obviously, your regions will be named something a little more appropriate, such as by a geographical region. Both regions have 3 RMT servers supporting multiple SUSE clients. Just a best practice point of reference here is that it is recommended that at least 3 RMT servers be implemented into each region to provide high availability in the case of a planned or unplanned outage, and load balancing capabilities, even though it's not a requirement. The drawing also depicts a firewall for all inbound and outbound internet traffic. Required ports for the firewall are outlined in the setup guide. The setup guide will be referred to often in the course of this series and is the definitive SUSE documentation along with the RMT server installation guide. In the event you find any discrepancy between this video series and the setup guide, the setup guide is the one to be followed as it is maintained by SUSE. Please note from the drawing that the RMT servers are the only SUSE servers communicating with the SCC across the internet for the product repositories. The RMT servers serve as a local cache for the package repositories obtained from the SCC and for client registration. Another set of SUSE elements depicted in this drawing are the SUSE region servers, which provide newly provisioned clients instances with information about the closest RMT servers to register with. You will note in the drawing that there is a primary and a secondary region server, each located in different data centers. Each SUSE client has a configuration file indicating the addresses of the geographically deployed region servers. The region server will direct the client to the RMT server closest to it, normally within the same data center. So this means that all region servers are aware of all the RMT servers and how to direct the clients. Lastly, the large yellow arrow labeled encrypted data path shows the data will traverse between the client and the RMT server directly, no matter which region server has been queried. The region servers will be addressed in more detail later. So this concludes our basic overview of the SUSE RMT server and the associated region servers. In the following videos, we will look at some of the best practices, tips, and hints for creating this environment. Thank you.